Okay, so we are open. I'm going to pause it, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can stair step this by bar. All right, so good, that works. We're looking for levels where we can expect some buyers and sellers. So of course, since we're looking for a short position, we're mostly looking for sellers. Now, I would definitely recommend at some point you try to see the market from both directions. But once you're starting out, if you're just new to trading, then lock in to one side, the side that you're trading in, right? So since we're looking for a short, we want to look for where it's likely for us to have some sellers sitting at, right? Now, we see that in the pre-market, we do have good response from our level so far. So the sellers are respecting that. And also another thing that we want to look at is we want to look at our volume profile, right? So in order of this, we want to look at our levels, and we want to look at the structure, and we want to look at the volume profile. Now we want two or more of these things to line up with each other that before we decide we're going to take a trade, right? If you want to be really aggressive, you can use one, but we really want two or more. All right, so the more the better. So we have the VWAP, and then the power range level, and then we have our volume profile. They're all lining up with each other. That's a great signal for us to look for a trigger to take a trade, right? So we're open. So what we're looking for is we're looking for that pullback. We already got it in the pre-market, right, leading up to the bell. So we got our higher lows and our higher highs. So let's go ahead and step that forward one. Now normally what I like to do, since I trade the open, I like to let this first 3-minute candle play out, because we can see a lot of irrational volatility in that first candle. That's just my personal preference. That's what helps me. So I definitely would not have had any trades here. So we're going to use 10 for our speed now. All right, there's the open. So I'm going to let that first 3 minute just play out. All right, and okay, that would normally, these would be signals, but it's happening so fast that, you know, it doesn't even really matter. Okay. All right, so we let that open. Now, technically, I could have had a signal here. I could have had a signal there, just off this 1 minute. Of course, again, we are using our 3 minute for the signal, and then we're using our 1 minute for execution for our trigger. So I could have had a trigger right there. What is that? That's at 892.5. I could have took that if I was trading that first 3 minutes, but I'm not. So that is one trigger. We did trade back into our level. We do have support from the volume profile. We also have price structure there. So we got three things that are lining up, right? We got price structure, we got the power range low, or the PR low, and then we got volume profile. We can see we have a slight peak there, right, before we get to the valley. So we got all of these things, the structure from the volume profile, the power range low, and our price structure. All of that stuff is lining up. Okay, so with all of that being said, that could have gave me a signal. That gives me the signal, and that also gives, because I could have taken the trigger there, breaking on this takeout trade, breaking the low of this green candle, right? So let's go ahead and look for another one. Clear that out. Boom. And play. Now we got to look for more pullback. We're looking for higher highs and higher lows on closed candles, because we're looking for a short. So we got it right there. Now, is that one? Now technically it could be one. We could put a trigger right, or an order right here. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to do a sell stop. Give myself a little space, and I just eyeball this. I don't have any particular numbers. It's not, you know, X amount of ticks. It's not, it's just keeping it simple, and I'm eyeballing it. I want a little space between the low and my entry order. So let's go ahead and put it there. So we do have our higher highs and our higher lows. Now really, that's on the 1 minute. So this will be an aggressive trade. This will be an aggressive play. You really want this on the 3 minute. So we should be looking at this 3 minute, right? So let's see what happens when we do this with an aggressive play. All right, so now that we got that in there, this is no longer valid because we traded back to this level, right? But we don't really have, so what do we have here? Let's go ahead, I'm gonna cancel that right there so we can see it. We're just walking through this slowly. So we see we have our level up here at our PR50. All right, so we do have the PR50, but we don't necessarily have structure from the volume profile. Now the structure from our volume profile, we wanted to stick out like a sore thumb. So with our volume profile, the structure that we'll be looking at to expect some sellers to give us a short position is right here. We also kind of have it right there. We got it right here. We also have, you know, lower than that. These are our peaks that we will be looking at for possible positions depending on how it trades, right? So up here we don't really have that. I mean, it kind of tapers off down there, but it's not as strong. So we still really don't have a signal yet. Let's see if we got straight signal from structure. So let me go ahead and add in, what is this, chart number 2. Put in chart number 2 here. All right. So there's no real, we only have one thing. So that's not enough to give us a signal. So we don't really have a signal yet. So let's go ahead and now we just removed all our trades, our orders, and let's just let it keep playing out. All right. So we're still looking for shorts. We were hanging mostly in the bear zone pre-market. And we want to look for, so we got a higher high and a higher low there. But we only have that one thing there. So we still don't have any signals yet. Now, this is, let me go ahead and pause it one more time. Since we did see sellers come in here at that level, now this creates price structure, okay? So now we have the price structure there. So now we can use this. We have our PR50 and we also have price structure. So now we can use this as a signal, right? So let's go ahead and we need a green candle to be able to take this R and inside candlestick pair. So let me go ahead and play it. We're just being patient. We're not going to try to chase it like, oh, there's one. Nope, we're not going to chase it. It can trade down from here. It can drop significantly and we can miss it. And that's perfectly okay, right? So now that does give us a green candle. Let's wait for it to close. Boom, it closed. So we have higher highs? Well, technically we do. That created a higher high. Do we have higher lows? We absolutely have higher lows. Is this a green candle? Yep. So we can start using this. We can look at our 1 minute to start looking for candles to use as a signal. So for our 1 minute, we do want the green candle that we're going to use for our trigger. We want that on the 1 minute chart because we're using the 1 minute chart to enter the trade. So let me switch over to the 1 minute now and let's go ahead and let this play. Okay, so we're kind of closed above it, but we are seeing sellers just pile in here. We're starting to see the volume profile grow. We're seeing in the price action that we do have some sellers trying to jump in here and take some shorts or push this price down, or we do have selling up here. We don't necessarily need to know where the selling is coming from or why it's coming up there. All we need to know if we have selling or not, right? So we do see selling, so let's keep watching. So as of right now, if we wanted to be aggressive, we could put an order down there. A sell stop, right? And then if we did it that way, we'll use this as a pivot to place our stop loss, right? Or we can use max stop loss. So for me, that would have been max stop loss. So I wouldn't have changed it at all. But really what we want to do is use structure or max stop loss, okay? So let's go ahead and let that play. All right, so we're continuing to trade higher. All right, so to kind of just slide you a cheat sheet, this market isn't necessarily looking good for a short, but we can still take a short here. And if we did take a short, the way that I would trade this is I would be looking for a scalp. I wouldn't be looking for a big home run move, since we know we are trading so aggressively back into our bull zone. If I did take a short, I want to stay disciplined to the strategy, and if I was to take a short, I would just be looking for a scalp, right? So keeping that in mind, let's just keep watching it. Now this zone right here is no longer valid, so we can go ahead and cancel that order. We can get that order out the way, and we can start looking at this level now. So at this level, do we have anything? There we go. All right, let's check it out. Let's see what we have. So I have to pause it in order to do this because I'm using such a fast speed. But in real time, of course, you're gonna have time to see all of this. You don't necessarily have to sit there and watch the price as it's doing it. You can just look for your levels and you can see if it lines up to be a good thing or not. All right, so just looking at what we have here on the screen on this chart. Let's see what we have. We have our power range high. Now our power range high is a strong indicator, but let's just keep looking. And it's also in the same level. You can't see it here because I do use a study. So let me go ahead and open that up as well. But we also have the session high. So I'm gonna use the high and low for time period. So we can see we have the session high up here. That's another thing that we can use, and we can use our session high. So we can expect some sellers to be up there because they're going to be looking to fade. All right, so we have a power range high. We have our session high. This will be the edges of our volume profile, so we can also use that as well. So we got three things that are lining up, so we can look at this as a signal. All right, so let's let it go ahead and play. And we're looking at the 1 minute now to look for our trigger bar, which is a green bar, a green candlestick, to where the trigger would have to take out the low of that, or it could be an inside candlestick pair regardless of the color. Let's look, and all right, let's go ahead and play. Okay, still waiting for a signal. Don't have a signal yet. That is not an inside candle, so we still have to wait. It's not an inside candlestick pair, so we still have to wait. All right, so we do got a green one there. However, you can take that, but I would personally like to look for it to be more of a pullback. But let's go ahead and take that. We can go ahead and take that there. So there is a little bit of discretion with this strategy. So another thing that you can do is with these stop losses, if you want to have wider stop losses, the way that this strategy is set up, it's set up to have tight stop losses so that we can have a little bit more control over our risk. So we're just gonna keep it that way. I'll let you figure out, but you can also use these levels as to move your stop loss if you want, right? But I'm not gonna do it. I'm just gonna keep it where it is. So you want it right there at the pivot. All right, so let's let it play and let's see what we do. All right, I'm not going to remove the order yet. That's a playable signal. I'm going to keep scaling it up. All right, so now at this point, since we took out the high of that, so now that's going to remove our orders. All right, so you can see on this day, trying to take a short on this day is not so easy. They were a little bit tricky with the price action. So let me go ahead and cancel that order right there. So now what's our next level? Okay, of course, our next level is going to be our PR plus 1, but that's all we have up here. Let's look on the 30-minute. Let's see if we have any structure. Okay, we have something. So we do have structure there. So we do have two things lining up. We have structure that we can see on the 30-minute chart, and we have our PR plus 1 level. So we can be looking at this as a signal for where some sellers are likely to be hanging out. So let's go ahead and check it out. And you can see at each of these levels, we did have sellers hanging out here. They just didn't have enough energy or enough strength to really move the price in the opposite direction. They were taken out each time. All right, so let's go ahead and hit play. We don't have a 1 minute bar to put our order in yet, so we still gotta wait. Oh, so that's interesting right there. So this is, I just know, you know, this is a candlestick. The name doesn't matter, so I'm not even gonna say the name. So with this candlestick here, this is a candlestick that could be used as a signal for reversal, right? I'm going to go ahead and put an order right here. Now I don't remember how this played out, so it just could turn into a losing trade. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna put it away. Kind of use that as a candlestick pair. Sell stop. I want it below the low of this candlestick right there. All right, so let's let it play out and let's see. All right, so we are triggered. Now I want to use a tight stop here. Now, with this being said, also, let me pause it before I move further. I have my target set by default, but I can use my levels to adjust my targets. And the only thing I need to adjust my targets is our power range levels. So for me personally, I like to keep my first target right here. I never change my first target. This is just my scalp target. But then I can start adjusting these other targets. I want it before our levels, right? So I can, I can make it tighter to increase the probability that it will get filled, or I can make it wider to go for a bigger play. But since I said I'm not looking for a big home run play in this one, I'm gonna move it up before the actual level, right? And you can also kind of use structure, but just for consistency, let's just pay attention to the levels, and that's not necessarily worry about the structure and all of that stuff. All right, go ahead and clear that out, and let's let it play. So now we're hands off. We got it set up, and we're just gonna let it play out. We're not worried about if we take a loss. This is an aggressive play, by the way, because it wasn't perfect. But let's just see how it plays out. And of course, we did go back into the negative on the position, so we can't, it's not reasonable to expect to have, and we got stopped out there. So that's perfectly okay. We only lost $94. Not bad at all. So let me pause it real quick. All right, so now this takes us into another signal. So we still on the 3 minute. Let's take a step back. We done had one trade. That trade didn't work out. It's perfectly okay. Losses is just part of the game. We tried to take an aggressive one, just playing that bar right there. It didn't work out. No problem. So now we're gonna reset. We're gonna refresh. We're gonna reset our minds, and then forget about that play, and let's move on to the next one. So are we getting higher highs and higher lows? We're still looking for a short? Yes, we are on the 3 minute. So now we can go back to the 1 minute and start looking at the 1 minute again. And now we got this 1 minute candle that's trading near our PR plus 1. And also remember, we got price structure that we can see on the 30-minute chart. So let's go ahead and let this play out. I want this to close. So we closed above. So now that gives us a signal that price could be reversing into our bull zone. Right? That's a signal that price could be reversing into our bull zone. It's not confirmation yet. It could definitely turn around, but we can use that to see if price is going to reverse into the bull zone. Okay. And with that also, we're going to go ahead and take another short here. Also, we got to keep in mind, what time is it? Because we're only doing this for an hour. So this is currently the 10:01 bar, so I've only been trading for 30 minutes, so we still got 30 minutes to trade. So we can use that as a signal candlestick there. Put a sell stop in there. I wanted some space in there. All right, looks good enough, and we are good. I can go ahead, while I set that up, I can go ahead and adjust my other targets if I want to. Put one there. Again, we're just looking for a scalp. We're not looking for anything serious, so we're gonna play it tight. Okay, now normally what we would look for is a 3-to-1, and this is how the strategy that I have it set up in Sierra chart. This is how it's set up for a 3-to-1 by default. So once it sets up by default, you can just look for a level. So the first level will be a 1-to-1, or this level will be a 1-to-1. It's not perfect, of course, but you can look at it as a 1-to-1, and then a 2-to-1 down here, the power range low, and then a 3-to-1 with our PR plus 1. Now it's not a perfect system, but it does give us bigger wins than losses. So that's all we're looking for if we want to have bigger wins than losses. All right, so let's go ahead and let it play out. Now once again, all of this stuff is in that download for the breakdown of the strategy that you can, that's available for you to go ahead and use. All right, so with that candle right there, we're going to pause it one more time. And so you probably didn't see it, but you did have the close and a brief retest. So now we are fully in the bull zone. This candlestick definitely puts us fully in the bull zone. Now I would still like to see a rotation over and a retest on the 3-minute, but we did have a micro retest, and we had a 1-minute candle fully closed in the open and closed in the bull zone. So now we can start to look for that retest. Now we need to start looking for lower lows and lower highs to start looking for a bullish play or a long play. And I'm going to go ahead and remove that right there. Okay, still got a few minutes to take a play. And let's start watching it. So now we're going to go back and we're going to look at our 3-minute chart. And we want to look for lower lows and lower highs and red candles. We're looking for the red candles to give us our signal on the 1-minute. Our signal to use our trigger, or to use our trigger on the 1-minute. Okay, so we're not taking any shorts at this point. At this point, we're looking for longs. Shorts are completely out of the plan at this point. And speaking of plan, this is a good time to reiterate that we definitely want to make sure that we are sticking to our plan, which is our plan is to trade only an hour a day within this 1 hour period from 9:30 to 10:30. Got to be, looking at the time right now. This is 10:12. This is our 10:12 candle. So we got about 15 minutes. Now, usually around here, I will stop looking for a play because I want to be completely done at 10:30. Since I took a loss there, that's perfectly fine. It's part of the game. I followed my strategy. I followed the plan, so it's all good. I just took an aggressive one, and that's fine. But since it's so late, I can continue to watch it to get my screen time. But if it gets too late, if it gets around like 10:20, 10:30, somewhere around, usually I cut it off at 10:15. I'm not going to take any new positions at 10:15, but I can hold a position past 10:15 and try to be done with it by 10:30, right? If I'm positive in that position by 10:30, I'll either set it up, I'll set my break even and all that stuff to let it play out where I'm going to have a win-win no matter what, or I'll just close the position depending on how it looks, right? So let's go ahead and let this play out, just keeping in mind of our plan. Still don't have the lower highs or the lower lows yet. We're waiting for that. Now here's the retest. So we are looking for bullish plays. We are definitely looking for bullish plays, even if it trades below the PR plus 1, because it's going to have to give us our lower lows and our lower highs. It has to trade below the PR plus 1. So we got it right there. So our level, which is, we can see the level that we would look at now is this power range high. Now we're looking to take a long here at this power range high. You see we had the structural support there. What used to be resistance, now it's serving as support. So now we can go back to our 1-minute and we can start looking for our signal and our trigger. And again, we're taking a long position here. All right, so can we take that there? Yes, we can take that. This is something that we can take. Now it's a little bit more aggressive than what I would want it to come all the way back down to that level. The further it pulls back, the better. But we do have the pullback on the 3-minute chart. So let me go ahead and put the trigger in there. All right, so there's the trigger. Now, structurally, I'm always using structure for my stop losses, right? So really I would want it down here. So if I'm not comfortable with that risk, the best location is down there. Just looking at these pivots here. So you got one here where you can take that one as a stop loss, and this one is stronger than that one, right? So if I'm not comfortable with this risk, I can just, cancel this trade and just wait for a better position, or I can just, take on this risk if it gets filled. All right, so let's let it play out. Okay, so pause it one more time. You see how this, so we did have an inside candle. It's not a perfect inside candle, but it is inside candle, so we can keep this play on, right? Because we either want what? We want a takeout trade, or we want an inside candle, candlestick pair, regardless of the color, to take our trigger. If it breaks the low of this, then trade off. Meaning we take the trade off. Right now we're still holding this range. We still good. We're looking for a break now at this point. We're still good. We don't need to make any adjustments. And there we go. So it broke lower. So now we can go ahead and take that off, and we can wait for another trigger. Okay. So we got everything we need to see on the 3 minute. We got our pullback, and we're about to miss our trigger. So now we got this. We got a 1 minute candlestick right here that's giving us a signal sitting right on top. This is what I want to see, sitting right on top of our power range high. This is a beautiful setup, and this is a setup that I will take all day, every day. So let me go ahead and play it. I'm gonna play this one tight because I want this one to fill. I want to get in this one. Win, lose, or draw, I'm not worried about if it's a win or a loss. It's a good setup. That's all I care about. I don't care about the P&L. I don't care about any other stuff. I just care that this is a good setup, and I want to take the setups. All right, so let's go. Buy stop, and we can go ahead if we want to and make adjustments. Actually, yeah, and make adjustments to our targets. All right, and let's play. There we go. We're in it. I'm not gonna move my stop loss. If it stops me out, that's perfectly okay. We'll just look for the next one. And we are still slightly within our 1 hour period. That's it's personal preference, but we're still good to go on that as well. We're going to be disciplined to our time. And let's see this. We're just gonna let it play. We're gonna be completely hands off. My hands are in my lap. Let's see what it does. All right, so it stopped me out again. I took 2 losses this day. It's okay, not a big thing. And we'll get it the next day. All right, that takes me to the end of my trading window. So I'm gonna see how this plays out. We followed our plan. We did what we were supposed to do. And so we're good to go. And see, this is why I said those deeper pivots served as better stop losses. We still didn't get the price action that we wanted. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop this. So this day, it was a tricky day. It's kind of why I picked it, because it was one of the most tricky days that we've had in a while, and that was actually a rare occurrence right there. We usually don't get that kind of price action. And this is why I picked it. I wanted to start out with the hardest example. So not every day your strategy is going to work out. Some days it's just not gonna be your day. But with those losses, you do get a lot of lessons. So that's what you want to take from there. All right, so I got another day loaded up here. Again, I'm gonna run this at a 10-minute pace, but this time I'm not gonna explain as deeply. I'm just gonna go through this and explain once I get to my trigger. And we should already know what we're looking for. We're looking to see pre-market where we're trading. In pre-market, we're in our bull zone, so we're looking for long plays. To look for long plays, we're going to be looking for lower highs and lower lows. We're going to be looking for that pullback, as well as a takeout for our trigger, right, to get into a position. All right, so we wait for it to open. We know we want to take a long. We were mostly trading in our bull zone pre-market and overnight. So here we go. We had the open. Like I said, I'll let this first 3-minute candle close. It's for my personal time frame, my trading window. See some momentum coming in here. Again, we don't want to get excited and start chasing. We want to wait for a pullback for this strategy. Now, since we did have the momentum come in, what we can do is we can take a more aggressive one and we can look for our pullback on the 1 minute, but we do need the pullback, meaning we need to see lower highs and lower lows. Keep my finger on here on the pause just in case I see it. Nothing yet. Looking at the 1 minute. Okay, there's one. That's slightly a lower low and a lower high. So you got a lower high here and a lower low. Let's see if we can get another one. But we got to be back at our level here. Also with this level, we can use this level because we have volume profiles here. Now it's not perfect. It's not perfect by any means. We do have structure there from our volume profiles. We see an increase in volume there. Also, we have structure, previous resistance, new support. We had a little battle here between our buyers and sellers. This is a good level that we can use to trade off of. Still looking for my signal, looking for my pullback, my lower high and my lower low. Okay, we're starting to get some lower highs and some lower lows. Now, that does give us one. We do get a bounce off of this, so we can, since we are trading momentum, we can take this high right here and go buy stop. And that gives you, see, it looks, once you see it open like this, it looks worse than it is. It looks like we're trading in this big range, but once we put the order in there and we look right at the price scale, we can see that the range isn't as big as it appears to be just by looking at the candlesticks. So we got plenty of room or plenty of risk that we can take for this trade. So let me go. I'm gonna tighten it up a little bit though, save a little money. All right, let's play. If we get triggered. Okay, there's our takeout. Let's see if we get follow through. Boom, there's a follow through. Another thing I forgot to do was adjust my targets. So you can adjust your target before you're in a position, or you can do it after. It's completely up to you. So keeping in mind what we're looking at, I'm going to use this as another level. Actually, I did decrease my risk. We got momentum. Let's not be greedy, and let's go ahead and put that there. Because I'm thinking, because we did get started so late, but we can take one there. And then I leave my runner to go up here if we can make up there. All right. So let's go ahead and play it. All right, there's our break even. And looks like we're gonna get, all right, we're taking on the break even. All right, so good trade. We followed our plan. Okay, so let's look for one more. Now we want to get the pullback here on the 3 minutes since we are seeing weakness. We are seeing some sellers coming here. So there we go. Now we're trying to make a lower low and lower highs here. Trading back into that area there. Trading back into the same level. Okay, so we can use that because it took out the highs of our previous candles. I don't necessarily like this for a trigger, so let me wait. Back at VWAP, we can also trade off VWAP, and that's what we're going to do because we got VWAP. This level is still good. We do have our volume profile structure, so we're good to go. Again, we do have pre-market structure, so we're good to go. We got at least two things lining up here to give us a reason to put our trigger in. So let me go ahead and do a buy stop. Want to make sure I can see a little space. All right, and let's play it out. Let's see what happens. Oops. My things are in the way. I gotta pause that and see if I can fix that. I'm trying to move. There we go. Want to have a tight stop there. I also want to adjust these targets. All right. Let's see how this works out. Okay. Decent little push, but we are seeing some resistance. We're seeing some sellers coming there. There's the first target. We're going to just let this play out. There's our break even. Getting us a nice little push there. Second target was hit. Let's see if we can get that last target out here for a full play. And what I like to do is I like to leave my break even on, and I don't adjust it until I'm like, unless I'm just ready to get out of the position for whatever reason. So I like to leave it where it is. I don't adjust my break even. It's either targets, break even, or stop loss. Ooh, right there, tease my break even. Let's see if we can get another push higher. And we're well within our trading time. This candle that we're working on right now is 10:09. Making sure we're following our plan. Prices, they're playing with price a little bit here. Keep teasing my break even. Okay, there. Now we got a nice little push higher. I teased my break even a couple times, and then it never got triggered. Let's see if we can make new highs out of this range here. See, this is the 10:19 bar, so I can just relax. I still got 10 minutes. Don't have to worry about being that strict to the time in this winning position, but I do want to give an example of what I may do if time is really a thing. So now that we're getting close to the time, what I could do is I could move my break even now based off time, based off my trading window to right there. And then from here, I could just walk away and be good with it. Or I can sit here and watch it, get my screen time, get a little bit of education from price action, you know. But at this point, I can just walk away and let it play out. And we're gonna just keep letting it play. Okay, there we go. Got to break into new highs. Let's get a more of a push. And there we go. So target hit. All right, so that was with 3 contracts. The first one just ended up in a 1 target scalp, and the other one was a full play. You can see the results there. So almost $200, $199. And the last thing I want to talk about here is the break-even trigger. Okay, I've already talked about the targets. I've already talked about, you know, the stop loss. So let's talk about the break-even. So the way that I have it, and this is for NQ. This is the only way I do NQ. I know that if NQ trades at least 15 points, then it shouldn't come back to where I got in at. So if it trades 15 points from where I entered the position, it should not retrace back to my entry. If it does, the market is not really that strong, or maybe I got in at the wrong place, but it's not favorable. You know, the probability is low that we're going to get a big move or a move higher. So in ticks, I have this at 55 ticks for the trigger offset. That's almost 15 points. 15 points would be 60 ticks, right? Because 10 points is 40 ticks. So half of that, you know, 10 plus 5, of course, that's going to be 20. So that's 60. All right. So all of this is going to be in the breakdown of how I have all of this set up. Now you can see also I have my 3 targets here, how it's automatically set up. It's set up to be more than the 3-to-1. So, but the goal is the 3-to-1, and I can adjust. You know, it doesn't have to be 3-to-1 perfectly every single time. I'm trading the market that I'm in. I'm trading the current market conditions that we're in at the present moment. We're not trading just some hard arbitrary numbers that we just pulled out of the air from nowhere. We're trading the market that we're currently in. So you can see I got my first target for a scalp at 35 ticks. My second target is going to be plus or minus 150 ticks. This is the one that I can adjust. And then the third target plus or minus 300 ticks. Also, this is the one that I can adjust. But my first target for my scalp is always 35 ticks. All right. And then I got my break even that's going to get triggered once price goes 55 ticks in my favor, and it's going to give me an offset of 11 ticks. So from my entry, it's going to be 11 ticks away from my entry. All right, that's just from me studying NQ for almost 4 years now. So with this strategy, like I said before, I would recommend that you have at least $5,000. That's the minimum. So you definitely got to be prepared to take losses. You can expect maybe like a 60% win rate, but of course that's going to depend on how consistent you are. And I have used this, you know, a similar method to this, but these same indicators and everything, I've used this to achieve a 92% win rate that I've talked about before. So in the next section, I am going to talk about an alternative that you can trade it with less money than that, with much less money than that, less than $1,000. So let's go ahead and get into that.